is the nature, mathematics of the infinite. That is true. So when he wanted to manifest, what is that manifested? The first manifestation is the manifestation of four beings, cosmic beings. First was, you may call, truth. Second was light. Third is life. And fourth is delight. Now we must remember that according to the Veda, the highest is triple world. Sometimes it's also called Tridhatu. The highest reality is Tridhatu. It is threefold. And later on, it came to be identified as Satchidananda. Sat, Chit, Ananda. Now, Chit is always known as double. Chit, Chit, Shakti. So, there are four principles. The Sat, Chit, Shakti and Ananda. Therefore, the first manifestation was these four beings. The first four beings came into operation to start with. Now, these four beings were as free as the Supreme Divine. This concept of freedom has to be understood in the Veda, which we shall discuss later on if you have time. But at present, let us say they were also free. Now, in their freedom, they wanted to make an experiment. What happens if we separate ourselves from the supreme origin in consciousness? You cannot be physically thrown out of the reality because reality is everywhere. But if in consciousness, if you can hide yourself, if you can get hidden, what happens? This was an experiment. This experiment resulted in the manifestation of complete darkness. When the light was concealed, truth was concealed, delight was concealed, life was concealed, then you enter into complete inconscience. Now, this is a story that Mother has spoken of because of her other knowledge, not from the Veda, but from the other. But there is a kind of a support to it in the Rig Veda, called Aghamarshana mantra. There is a mantra in the Rig Veda called Aghamarshana mantra. Ritam cha satyam chabhidat tapaso dhyajayata tato ratra jayata tatah samudro arnavaha. It's a very simple statement, but according to me very meaningful and really gives you the story of the world as known to the Veda. It says, in the beginning there was only tapas. Tapas is the force of creation, sankalpa. So there was a first sankalpa or the force of manifestation, decision to manifest. And what was the first manifestation? Ritam cha satyam. The first to manifest was truth and the right. And then Ritam cha satyam chabhidat tapaso dhyajayata. Then comes Tato ratri jayata. Then came the darkness. Then came the night. And then came Tataha samudro arnavaha. And then came the samudra. Samudra is the ocean of inconscience. Tataha samudro arnavaha. In the night is not a complete darkness because in night there are stars. So night is still a field of partial knowledge and partial ignorance. That was the first step. As they began to decide to conceal themselves, came the night. But it went farther into a further deepening of inconscience, and then came Tata Samudro Arnavaha. Now, when the darkness came, then this is, a mother says, I am telling a story as if it's a child's story. So she says, the Supreme Divine Mother went to the Supreme Lord and said, look, this is what has happened. So the Supreme Lord said, now you work out by which this darkness is removed. And therefore, you now create other beings. These four were all right. They went this way. Now you create four other beings, not four. You create other beings and ask them to repair this darkness. That is why in Nasadya Sukta it is said, what was that darkness, how it came about, even the gods do not know, because gods were not there at that time. This is in Nasadya Sukta. Gods were not there, they did not know. So gods are a second creation. And this is the Vedic knowledge, that gods were not there when the inconscient came about. Tato ratra jayata tata samudro arnava. At that time, gods did not come into being. Now, these gods were then manifested. All the gods, Aditehe Putraha, which are described in the Veda, are second creation. Now, these gods were asked, summoned to work on this. These gods, however, when they saw the darkness and the depth of darkness, they went back to the Divine Mother and said, we cannot really deal with this darkness. This is too much for us. This darkness is so intense. Then what is to be done? Then they said, but in your waters we see a God. In your waters means in your consciousness, we see a God. That can do this work. If that God is manifested, if that God is brought out and put forth into the inconscient, then it can do it. Now this Agni is the one which was seen by the gods in the waters. And this Agni is actually the intensest force of love of the divine. The supreme Ananda. Agni is the Ratnadhatamam. The supreme love, the supreme joy, supreme Ananda. He bears this supreme Ananda, supreme love, supreme joy. That is Agni. That is the real meaning of Ratnadhatamam. The highest Ananda, as we said in Taittiriya Upanishad, the highest reality to which the disciple goes is Ananda. That highest reality, the supreme love of the divine, that love was put forth into the inconscient. Therefore, Agni is supposed to be the latest among the gods. He is the last to come out of all the gods. It was put forth last. And now let us see again Aghamashra mantra. This is my own study, so I cannot say that Sri Aurobindo says this because he has not written on the subject. But my own study, there is a very important word which comes in continuation of what I was saying. Samudra dharnavadati samvatsaro ajayata. This is in the Veda. Samudra dharnavadati samvatsaro ajayata. That is, from that darkness, from that intense inconscience, that which was born was Samvatsara. Now, I made an inquiry, what is the meaning of Samvatsara? Normally is the year, time. But none of them really fits into it. Because if creation has already started, time has already started. So it can't be that time came into existence after this. It can't be year at that time, as if, because year is only a calculation of time. In lexicography, in somewhere I found that Samvatsara also means fire or Agni. So, I settled this question because I found that Samvatsara also means in Vedic language the fire or Agni. And also we have got Kalagni also. Kala is Agni. So even if you say Samvatsara, which means year or time, it is also connected with Agni. So it would mean that when inconscience was brought, in that inconscience, this manifestation, the first thing to put there was Agni. It is actually the supreme Ananda, supreme love of the divine which manifested. This is also connected with the Purusha Sukta. Purusha Sukta is basically the sacrifice of the Purusha. The Purusha himself, that is to say, when the Divine Mother comes down with all her love, which is Agni. Agni is nothing but supreme love of the divine on the earth, put forth here. Along with him, because Purusha and Prakriti or Shiva and Shakti are one, so along with the Shakti came down also the Supreme Lord. And that is the sacrifice of the Purusha. In other words, God told the Supreme Mother, this is not what we can do. Unless you both come down on the earth, unless you bring your highest love to manifest here, this inconscient cannot be broken. It is so thick. And therefore, in answer to the prayer of the gods, this great sacrifice took place. The Divine Mother and the Divine Purusha, both of them came down. In fact, this is the truth behind our ordinary idea, Vishnu lying in sleep. You know, we have got sometimes a huge image of Vishnu lying in the sleep, eyes are closed. It is the descent of the Supreme Purusha into the inconscience, and therefore subdued in inconscience, but working in that consciousness. Now, this is an image which is found in our Indian literature, Puranic literature particularly. But I would like to add here an experience of the mother herself. Mother says that she, in one of her meditations, she went down into the inconscient. And as she descended down, she found Supreme Lord lying there. And as she approached, the eyes opened. And she said, that was the moment, at least in that earth evolution, at that moment when she went there, a new evolutionary force began to manifest. It's a very beautiful description given by the mother in her own experiences, yogic experiences, which confirms our idea of Indian idea, that at the bottom of the inconscient is the Supreme Lord who is waiting, who is working silently and pushing forth the whole movement towards greater and greater awakening. Therefore, if this world is a movement upwards, is a movement which starts from unconscious to conscious and from conscious to higher consciousness and to the summits of highest consciousness, it is because the Supreme Lord himself has taken his seat there by sacrifice of Purusha, and from there all the higher manifestations take place. Of course, Purusha Sukta is much vaster and much more profound, we shall come to later on, but at least that part is very clear that Veda speaks of the Purusha sacrifice. Veda speaks of the sacrifice of Purusha. He is a holocaust of Purusha, the Supreme Lord who is living in the summit. He throws his light into the inconscient, and that power which is burning all the time, that is the flame, that is Agni. That's why Sri Aurobindo calls the mystic fire. Agni is the mystic fire. It is that fire. Now, if you study this,